Good morning, everyone. Glenn Dingy here, Hudson Cadillac Buick GMC. Hope everybody's doing well. Little follow-up from yesterday. Kind of just gave you a quick look at the car, but I've had a chance to drive the Sport yesterday, and this one is the Premium Luxury, which I just took to the car wash and got some gas and gave this thing a ride too. So now that I've had a second ride, which I'm actually glad I did before I posted this video, because I really got a completely different feel for it this time than I did yesterday. I just spending a little more time behind the wheel and playing with the driving modes and just giving the car an overall look. I did a little research too last night on some of the stats. So let me follow up with this first before we go into the driving dynamics of it. And sorry, my lips aren't working. It's so goddamn cold out here. So like one thing I want to kind of point out from the outside before we get to the inside and talk about the drive. Very interesting statistic. This vehicle overall is 2 inches shorter than the CTS, which it replaced, but the wheelbase is actually 2 inches longer. So the overall car is 2 inches shorter, the overall wheelbase is 2 inches longer. I mean, that's an incredible statistic. So saying that, the driving dynamics of it today, from driving it the second time, and using the Sport mode, you know, I got to tell you, an almost 50-50 perfect weight distribution on these cars. The longer wheelbase, the new architecture of the overall car. I mean, this thing is ridiculously stable, extremely nimble, very tight turning radius. The 2.0 and the 10-speed transmission, it's different than the old 2.0 in the sense that two things. It's not as jumpy as the old 2.0. The overall acceleration is extremely smooth. So it may, to some, feel as if it doesn't have the extra power that the old one did. And I don't know what the real numbers are on it. It's a very good car to drive every day. This isn't, you know, the hot rod. If you want overall power, you go to the 3.0 twin turbo, which is going to be a monster in this car. But the second thing I noticed was the transmission was completely perfect in no other sense. I mean, like, I don't even know how to explain it. You literally could not feel it shift. You could not feel, you could see the gauge and hear the engine, which is another thing they did, which is really interesting. You could actually hear the exhaust. You could hear the engine. You know, for a driver, even some everyday people, it may be a little more than they want to hear, but for me, like, I like to hear what it's doing. They've just made it a hair louder, so you can kind of hear that turbo, you know, rev up and that thing hit the RPMs. But again, the shifts were seamless. I mean, literally couldn't feel it. I could see it move on the RPM gauge, and I know it went to the next gear, but literally could not feel it shift. I mean, that is ridiculously impressive. Handling around the corners was awesome. I mean, it's a light car, but somehow it feels a little heavier, and it's not like the ATS. I always loved the ATS. If you guys heard me do videos on that and drive that, like, it was just the jumpiness of the car, the nimbleness of the car. And again, it's lighter, so it's going to feel like that. But this one, the dampening in the suspension is perfect. The one complaint I had about the CTS, not the ATS, the CTS, is what it was. The dampening was very harsh at times, although the car felt lighter than this. It just had some harshness to it. This has none of that. You go over bumps, it's amazing, and it still handles through the corners by being firm but soft at the same time. It's hard to explain, but it's like, it's perfection. When you can take the two of those and put it together, it's like, wow, really, like nothing I've ever driven before. All right, so let's get into some of this. So this is a CT. This is the Premium Luxury package. So I'm actually going to touch base with some of these options, because ridiculous amount of options for the price. But before I do that, you know, you guys have probably heard it before if you're paying attention to Cadillac. They're doing a, you know, you don't go straight up, you go left or right. So for case in point, you know, I'll call this the left. This is the Sport. So the Sport has the blackout everywhere, lower valance, upper grill, the blacked out trim all the way around. The window moldings are all blacked out, blackout on the bottom. The extra spoiler, the premium that I'm going to show you, luxury, premium luxury, has an integrated spoiler, but this has the spoiler on top, the extra spoiler. Different wheels these two have, both 19s. And another couple little cues, like it's hard to see on that one, but I really like it. So this one doesn't have as much black. It doesn't have the, so like, it might not show up here, but the vented, like honeycomb kind of diamond cut grill, and there, where this has the traditional Cadillac, I mean the traditional grill, but with chrome accents on it and a totally different look. It's a horizontal look, and then this just has the same horizontal look as before, so it doesn't have that mesh to it. So a couple pieces of black that weren't typically in the premium luxury, but a different grill and different trim pieces. Now I like the overall look of how they're cut in, and you can see even this one's cut a little more aggressive right on this part, where that one's a little straighter with a chrome piece. So I really like the little changes that they made to differentiate the two. But now here, like I didn't even notice this till today, the grill doesn't run all the way up. There's a brake piece here where the headlight runs in, and then there's just a trim across the top. Like something about that just cleans up the front end of it. You notice that? Like what a nice little touch. And the other thing I didn't notice yesterday as I was looking at it, look at the aggressive hood. Like this is the perfect angle. Two nice outside bulges, and then that nice little bulge right dead in the middle. Like, you know, there's an engine under there, man. This is a sports car. It's luxury, but it's a sports car. Like really nice touches. And then again, just to give you this, you know, regular integrated spoiler, not the top spoiler that the Sport comes with. All right, cool. Let's jump into some of the options here real quick. I'm telling you, like, I was just reading this before I went for a ride. I mean, I'm not familiar with the packages. We literally just got the car. But, so there's a premium luxury, white exterior, black interior with the 2.0 turbo. Parking package, rear camera mirror, which, like, what a freaking great idea. Like, it's not a mirror. You're seeing a LCD, high definition camera out the back. You see 360 degrees wider view than you would on a highway. It's amazing. Outside power heated mirrors, air purification ionizer. Never have to clean it. Doesn't have these interior filters now. It just ionizes it, so you don't even have to change it or anything or clean it. It's you know, lasts forever. Tilt and telescopic power steering, hands-free deck lid release. Now, what's cool about it is when you walk up to it, and you wouldn't be able to notice it during the day, but the Cadillac emblem pops up at night, and when all you need to do is just see where it is, and you kick it, and the trunk opens. Now I know it's in the middle, so I'm just, you know, doing my thing, but yeah, that's a pretty cool feature. I mean, you literally just kick it and walk away, and like that emblem when it shows up at night, it's pretty cool. All right, so rear pedestrian alert, automatic parking assist with braking, so it has forward braking, automatic seatbelt tightening, adaptive cruise control, lock on the column, which is a great feature for the for security. Enhanced automatic emergency braking, theft deterrent alarm, sensor inclination, sensor vehicle movement, rear automatic braking, steering wheel's all leather, sport rim with magnesium paddle shifters, sunroof, navigation with Bose audio, 15 speakers, driver awareness package, and telebeams, following distant indicator, and tail beam headlamps mean they come on, the high beams come on automatically and go off automatically just based on whether somebody's coming at you. Lane keep assist, that keeps you in your lane, like literally steers you back in your lane, like nudges you with a warning too, just in case. Heads up display, which I showed you in yesterday's video. I'll give you another peek. Diamond white 19-inch diamond cut wheels, which I think are really sexy on this car. Little less aggressive than a Sport, but I mean, just nice looking. Like, I think it fits the car, especially the premium luxury buyer that would want the car. May not want as much aggressiveness on the wheels. Heated front seats, heated rear seats, ventilated in the front, sill plates, illuminated, quarter-inch lamps. Like, you know, this 55.8 for this car. I don't know why that's not coming out. It's not focusing. But man, premium luxury car for 55 with all those options. I mean, every safety feature you could think of, and nice little touches like the hands-free tailgate and the lit sill panels. And you know, I didn't even notice it the other day, but there's a little light that goes where I haven't seen it at night. A little illuminated night, but it's so clean now. You know, with the chrome on the top and the full color the rest of the way, and the buttons on the inside, so they just have the little Cadillac emblem right there. Like, just nice clean look. Like, good little touches. I'm impressed. All right, so let's get in a little more in here. Oh, I left the trunk open. I could just hit that button. All right, so did she go down yet? Let me just close this thing. Okay. So, the shifter. If you've experienced the, sorry, my fingers there. If you've experienced the precision shift on the XT5, they've changed this on almost everything now. Very easy to use. Drive. The problem with the other ones was going up and over into reverse. Now this one's just straight to reverse, so you hit reverse every time, plus a little pop, and boom, you're right back in drive, which is great when you're backing out of a driveway or into a street or into an aisleway. Like, it's just bang right in the drive. You don't even have to grab the side button to do that, and then boom, push into park. So that's a nice improvement. The wireless charging, I literally drop my phone on and it charges. You guys know from some of the, you know, first generations in any of these cars, they just, it had to line up right. I've done it 3 times now. Dropped it in, boom, it works. Now, I've heard people say different things about this interior, but my personal feeling on it is, now that I've thought about it, it's, well, first of all, by organizing it in a row like this, everything's very easy to see because it's right there. It's not a stack where there's buttons on top of buttons, so it's harder to look for what you're trying to find. You just have to glide across. So I think, in theory, is, again, it's just my feeling, it's actually easier to find things, and it's more, you know, it's more space saving, because now you can have this whole little extra storage underneath here, where you'd waste this spot maybe back here towards the back. So it works in that sense. And then again, 10-inch screen, it's massive. It may not come out in this picture, but all the other cars have this thing like literally sticking up, like somebody came in later and put it in, like what they forgot, and they just, this has just that slight effect, but it's still laid into the dash. It doesn't look like it's an afterthought. It just looks like a better version of what everybody else is trying to do, or is doing. Again, just personally my feeling, but I think it looks really slick, and a 10-inch screen is awesome. So, couple changes. First of all, everything's very quick to use, and you know, I've showed this before, so you get right to your quick, the ones you're going to use most, your music, your phone, and your nav, and then your climate control. You go to home anytime by clicking there. Now with your rotary controls down here, all I'm doing is moving this left or right. So we're on the, which again, if you've heard me before, they have this new screen now here where you have your navigation, your radio, and your phone, your climate, all right on the screen. Now mine's not hooked up, but it would be. But now I could just scroll right over if I want to go to individuals without even reaching up to the screen. I go to phone, I can go to nav just by hitting the rotary dial. Like, it's so, my hand's not moving, my arm's on the armrest. I can just get to everything very quickly. So boom, there, radio. Now I'm back to full radio. I want to go home, I put the home button on the bottom or the back button. I go back to that screen, scroll left, boom, back to that screen. I've never even taken my hands off of the rotary dial. Again, sorry for the fingers there, not paying attention. So yeah, some really slick stuff. The steering wheel is big enough and it heats up quick. I mean, it's small and big. I don't know, that seems to just give you more of a feel of a sports car. And then just to give you a quick heads up display, that is really smaller than it actually looks in the camera, I swear. But yes, you can move it up and it gives you a lot more range. Before, the other one moved maybe a half inch or an inch. This thing moves like 3 or 4 inches before it runs out of space, up or down. So that gives me the ability to really set it low if I want without getting it out of my picture. See, it just went out of my picture. So I can have that thing super low or super high based on what I want. Plus I can just click the info. There's just, here, let me just zoom in on it a little. There's just the speedometer, which I was just on. There's speedometer plus radio. There's speedometer plus your compass. And then you could go to a full RPM gauge. Did I click off of that too quick? Yeah. Full RPM gauge. It'll still give you the mileage down below, but it'll give you your RPMs. Yeah, pretty slick. I mean, nice colored, you know, nice look to it. So, all right, little better look at it from yesterday. Appreciate you guys paying attention and listening. I know it was a long video, but yeah, man, just really nice touches. This car is way more impressive than the previous body style. Like, they've taken it to another level. And if you want to compare it to the other guys, I'm telling you, it's an overall better car. The handling, the overall drivability, the comfort of the seats. And I know Germans are meant for their handling, but unfortunately, the same kind of handling you're getting with this, or even better handling you're getting with this, you're unfortunately losing the comfort of the overall ride, the everyday comfort of an everyday car. Like, the seats are more comfortable, it drives lighter but still a little heavy. It's just a nicer car to be in. I think the technology is easier to use. I think the overall look of the interiors is much more evolved and much more up to date. I mean, I don't understand why people have beat us on our interiors. The interior on the CTS was gorgeous. Like, I mean, this is cleaner in a sense, of its own sense, but I love that black piano finish that was in the CTS. That was groundbreaking. Anyway, thanks for listening, guys. Know anybody needs anything, call me, text me, IM me. I appreciate the support. I appreciate the referral.